All right, we're back. Now, Todd wanted to go back and review something that he forgot to mention when he was talking about his EC CGCs.
On the Haunt of Fear, when I initially got that back in from Florida, the corner was broke off. Took it right out of the box.
Right here?
The bottom one. The chip was in there, so I immediately contacted them, and I sent it back, and back to Florida it went. It's been to Florida more times than I've been, but remarkably. But so what I learned from that is anytime you get books in, I don't care if you get them from CGC, I don't care if you get them from eBay or whatever, you should videotape yourself opening the box. Get your name, address in there, get their name and address in there, cut the box open, take the contents out, make sure everything's okay. If there's a problem, you have evidence that you can forward to eBay or CGC and say, hey, there's a problem with my order. Both Dave and I have had problems with getting graded books in from eBay that people have just thrown into padded envelopes. That's it, nothing else. Both of the books we got that way were destroyed.
You got yours like a week after I got mine or something like that, wasn't it? Same exact issue, dude.
As soon as I went up onto the porch and I saw it laying in that padded bag, I already knew. I took it right in the house and filmed myself cutting them. They got all four corners on that one, man. They were thorough.
They must have rolled it up to your porch.
I think they went with the frisbee option. So, yeah, it was rough. So, but
dude, I was traumatized when I got there. I was so upset, man.
I was irritated.
And then,
really?
Listen, man,
do this?
The dude that I talked to was a total peckerhead about it and tried to say that I was abusive when I opened it. He sent it in a padded envelope, dude. And as a collector, a guy said he's a collector. As a collector, why would you do that, dude?
Yeah, I don't know. I had a video of me opening mine, and I told them as much when I said, hey, listen, I got a problem. I videotaped this, and I sent them pictures of the corners, which, I mean, why would I break all four corners, So I was really upset. I kind of wanted the book. I got it at a reasonable price. Maybe it wasn't worth grading, but it was still cool, And, padded envelopes do not work. Videotape everything.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
Videotape it. You can forward it to eBay.
You could delete it if you
exactly.
There's no damage.
Exactly, but
dude, I had the issue where the chip was going into the back of the comic, so it was actually damaging the comic.
Internal.
Yeah, it was damaging the comic.
Yeah.
So, but I was lucky, dude. Listen, man, eBay actually refunded and sent out a shipping label for me and told the guy to screw off. You're taking it back.
Yeah, same thing.
But PayPal has insurance or something too.
Yeah, there's two safety nets there.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a seller and do a bad deal or do something stupid,
Have you guys heard about there's fake CGC labels out there apparently?
Yeah, I've heard some stuff about that.
Like, is there a way you can tell the difference?
You can look online and see, but
there's
each serial number.
Each one of these has a big serial number, right there, and actually a scan code. They could probably scan that in 2 seconds and tell you. Unless you are a paid member of CGC, you don't have access to the grader notes. If you are, you have access to the grader notes. So if I would say, why did this come back as a 4.5? What exactly were the flaws in here? All I have to do is look at the grader notes, and it could say on page 3, there's a tear, there's a continental fold on page 7. So unless you want to pay for that service,
At the end of the day, these grades are all opinion by whoever's grading it. But if you get a book and it looks like a 4.5 and it says it's a 9.8, I mean, you know what I'm saying, man? That's probably your tell sign right there. You know what I mean?
But CGC should, if there's a jump like that, CGC should say that's not our label. So they have a record of what that serial number grade should be, when it left them. So.
I'll be honest, I feel a lot more comfortable getting my own stuff CGC than I do buying off eBay. And one of the reasons, even if it isn't like a fake, which I don't think is a huge issue at this point, but they're out there. But I see online, like on different social media platforms and stuff, where the collectors leave us out like this window right here, and they'll have a shelf right in front of it. If you had a 9/8 and you let it sit in front of your window for 10 years, dude, it's gonna be a blank cover. Yeah. You're only gonna have the black. The colors are gonna be totally drained, and there's no way that's a 9/8, man. You know what I mean? So that's what makes me a little nervous. Yeah. I'm not real super comfortable with it because apparently the collectors don't use their heads either.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're a serious collector, you would know. Shouldn't you know that?
Well, absolutely, man. Look at anything with sun on it, man. You know what I mean? Sun beating on it.
In my room, the window is physically cardboarded over. I mean, there's just no reason for there to be any sunlight in there. You know, I turn on a light when I go in there. It's just, you know, in the dining room, all the drapes are closed. But, you know, UV light can't filter out everything, even if you put that glass in there. Unless you start getting towards museum quality, and then that's pretty pricey. It's usually more expensive than the book or the art.
I mean, it can't hurt to have like UV film on your window and blinds. But you know, honestly, with those blinds, I'm probably going to cut a black piece of foam and put it in there as well. And you won't even be able to tell because the blinds are going to be covering it up. But I'll fill up there. So, anyways, let's get to our grades that we picked up this week.
Okay, I'm going to go first because I only have 2.
Woo-hoo.
Is that fine?
These are your first 2. Yay!
First 2.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay. First one is Spectacular Spider-Man number 90. And
now, where did you get this?
I got this. Can I say?
Well, don't say
I don't say the name of the. I got this at a local.
What I meant is,
what did you mean?
Did you buy it off the rack, or was this a back issue that you know what I mean? This you did not buy this when it came out.
No.
Oh,
okay,
no,
that's
no.
that's what.
No,
all right,
no, I did not. No.
She's far too old to have been reading comics back then. Or, I mean, young.
You did not.
We'll be right back.
Okay. All right, so anyway,
go ahead.
You bought this as a back issue. And why did you buy it? Why did you purchase it?
The cover caught my eye. I just I don't know. It was just something. You know how when you just see something and there's just certain things about certain covers that you like more than others, and something about it catches your eye and you absolutely love it. And I saw this one.
The dynamic.
Yeah, I saw this one and it was just the cover. I loved it.
Is it a key issue or what?
It is a key issue.
And what is it?
Okay. It has a note on it that will tell you.
That's the other thing.
Yeah,
there's other notes on there. There's notes.
There was actually more to it than what I thought because I did not realize. But let me say what it says on here. It says, first black costume and title.
Mm-hmm. So that's a symbiote. The Venom. That's the Venom. That's Venom.
Symbiote. Black Cat appearance, obviously. Mm-hmm. And Vision and Scarlet Witch cameo.
I don't remember them showing up in that book, but I'm surprised about that.
I didn't realize that, but that's an awesome cover.
So
I love it.
That is what I call
Are they in disguise? Is that why I didn't notice them? Are they in disguise? I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know.
So I call what happened to you, I call that the Black Sabbath effect. Because anytime I would see a Black Sabbath album when I was a kid, I was like, I don't know what's going on there, but I'm going to find out. I mean, that's all that it took for me to say, what? Wait a second, hold on.
I was like that with Iron Maiden.
So there you go.
I was looking at the wall. I was looking at all the comics on the wall, and it's like I saw that one, and I just suddenly did not see any of the other ones. It was weird. Like I just knew that was the one that I wanted to buy.
And then I remember whispered, I was debating whether I've been wanting to get a copy of that, and I was like, I don't know, Jeannine, I don't know if you should buy that. You should probably buy something else. And she's like, but I want that one. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe you should just leave it there.
He kept trying to talk
but I want that one.
He kept trying to talk me out of it, and that's all I kept saying. I'm like, but I want that one.
So
that's a sure sign. He says no, get it.
So the retailer said what was it going to grade as? What would the retailer have it as?
They had it as a 9.2.
And then it came back as a 9.2. So they were dead on, man.
They were dead on.
So that's cool.
That is cool. The other one I got is Spawn number 1.
Ooh. How much trouble did you have getting that graded? Because we know that's not their favorite book in there.
Well, they didn't say anything to me when I sent it out. I don't know why. He waited until after we picked it up to tell me that he does not like Spawn. He hates Spawn.
The retailers are comic book purists. They're old school, man, and they're not fans of 90s stuff.
But that's the book that I actually, I traded
there
Disney
you go.
stuff.
The
for it.
Disney stuff.
Very
for
cool.
That the Spawn #1 and another book. He had said that it was very high grade, you know, and I was looking at, like I said, I'm still learning, so, you know, when I look at the book, I'm like, you know, not sure what exactly to check for, you know, some of them I'm afraid to, you know, go through. I don't want to do anything to
Fingerprints will do it.
You know, exactly. Yep. So, but when I actually have another copy of Spawn #1, but I sent this one out. I was hoping.
You picked the right one.
I was hoping that it would come back as a higher grade. I wasn't sure what it would be, but when I saw that, I was like jumping up and down. Because,
that was the first one we saw.
Yeah, I was so excited. Like when we were going down, I was like, you know, I was so excited. I didn't know what they would be, but and I was hoping. That it would come back.
Congratulations.
And, yeah.
First 9.8.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Dude, let's face it, dude. Most likely, we're not. When you send something out, 9.8 is probably the highest you can hope for. I mean, are there 9.9s and 9.10s out there? There absolutely are. Mm-hmm. But chances of getting that, unless it's like that Batman Damned, where it's like a magazine format with cardboard, you know what I mean? Where it's, you know, not going to take any damage at all when you're sending it straight out.
10 gem mint, right?
10's like never touched by human hands, man.
It says gem.
Does that what it says?
Gem mint. Yeah.
So. Sounds delicious.
And expensive.
Yeah, no doubt. The collectors usually seek, they want 9.8s is usually what people want.
Yeah, that's usually everybody's fine.
What's the note say on there, Jeannine?
I don't want to read the notes.
Yeah. What? Tell us what the notes say, Jeannine. Come on.
It's not like Ken wrote the note.
I'm going to try and say
it. Might as well.
I'm going to try and say it without laughing. Let me see what to say. First appearance of Spawn, Al Simmons, naturally. Then it says Pit Pinup by Dale. I don't know how to say it.
Keown. That's interesting.
And Spawn Pinup by George Perez.
We love George Perez. That's interesting.
Eye Patch Perez.
A pull-out Spawn poster.
Spawn pulls out. Ain't that something?
Oh, man. Well, I guess that
who'd have thunk it?
That answers that.
First issue, the mystery's gone. Why buy issue 2?
Sorry, girls. I'm out of here.
I can't read that without laughing.
So let's see what you got in, Todd.
All right.
These probably.
This is not what I got in, but this was something I wanted to talk about because this was actually a CGC mistake. They made a mistake on the header plate. And as Dave absolutely loved it when I got it and told him, signed by Rob Thomas. Now, I don't know what the guy from Matchbox 20 would be doing signing a Conan book, but pretty sure that was a mistake and we were going for Roy Thomas. Called up CGC. They have a...
they could be heroes.
Yes. No. Not in my book, they're not. They have a policy. If they made a mistake on a header plate, send it back. They will pay for the shipping and correct the plate and send it back to you free of charge. So, much to Dave's disappointment, and Rob Thomas.
You should have asked for that header plate and framed it, man.
Yeah, too bad you couldn't have kept it.
Yeah, because you know what, you're right. There's probably somebody out
collects mistake header plates.
But you're not doing it with a Conan 19, the first full appearance of Red Sonja, at least not mine. So you can have them put Rob Thomas on yours if you want. But, so anyway, they do make mistakes. They will correct them, and that is why I brought this along today.
And by the way, I think right now the charge too. I had one I actually I forgot about. I should have brought out, but I had a Secret Wars 9 or 8. What is it? 8 or 9? 8. The origin of the symbiote suit, and I bought it for $5 back in 15 years ago.
Oh, this is
and
a
I
good
took
story.
it. I walked out of the con and I had a minivan and I put it in my back seat, and when I slid the door, somehow the vibration kicked the book out of what the bag I had it in, and as I closed it, it hit. Now, it didn't damage anything internally, except it put a crack across it. So whenever we did our first CGC, I sent it back, and it was $15 to replace the encapsulation.
To reslab it. They were pretty good about that. They didn't charge us they're like $15 will do it, and reslabbed and good as new.
And as long as it isn't damaging the comic or anything like that, they don't have to regrade it or anything. So that's
as long as it didn't like break the totally open and the book come out. You know, I mean, you could tell that when there's just an external crack or the book has been removed. So
So, and by the way, usually, from what I've seen, whenever you have something CGC'd, it pretty much a minimum of triples the value, man. I've seen 10 times the value actually recently. I was looking on eBay and I've seen, but it definitely is an increase. And plus, like I have some books I'm sending out next time. I just want them encapsulated because I don't want to have to worry about them taking any damage because they're old and maybe starting to get a little brittle or whatever. And I can just have them graded even though they're low grade or whatever and never have to worry about them again. They're important key issues, whatever.
The other thing about getting them graded is there is no guesswork. Even for a person who doesn't necessarily know comic books in and out, all the information is right there. What the grade is, what's going on in there, everything's there. So, I could give this to
me.
Didn't know you were a Conan fan.
She's a Rob Thomas fan.
I'm just saying, no. We're
gonna have to send it back.
Like I can.
Can you take Roy back off?
No, like I mean, anybody could look at that and know that like that is the reason why it's a key issue, and
except for I have one argument on that, and it was on a book I just got back last night. I can make an argument against that, and I can't believe it happened.
Go for it.
All right. Well, let's see the rest of yours, and then we'll.
Okay. This was actually one that I just got in. There you go. There it is.
Boom. First Venom cover.
What's it? That's pretty drastic. Looks like Spidey's. There's not going to be another issue after that. And this is the best part. This is what I like the best part. Double your zits. How could you go wrong with that ad, man? When I got that, I was like, that is outstanding.
But you got 9.6 on that, man.
I'm sorry, double zap your zits.
Double zap.
I said zits.
What's the liner note say? Does it say first Venom cover?
Oh, you're going to make me do this, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. I look dumber. Okay. Venom and Black Cat appearance. That's all it really says.
That's all it says?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
So we know it's an iconic cover. It's an iconic Todd McFarlane cover. First Venom cover. And it's the direct sell, so it has a little extra artwork in the corner like Todd McFarlane always liked to do.
He liked to do whenever it didn't have the code. So.
That was one of the things I was asking you earlier about how they put that on. Like if they have like a set, if you can actually tell them what you want on there as far as like what the first appearance or whatever would be, or do they have just something set for that?
Yeah, they have like a template. Like they say, hey, it's issue 316, so we're only putting this.
Call
this,
attention to why it's important to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do that because I would really like to send out the. I have a Thor, and he goes to a certain place. Mm-hmm. Might be our hometown, and but I don't know if they would make a note of that.
I want to get my Batman Damned to say first appearance of Batawang or Bruce Wang.
Did he just make that joke? He did. If he gets that on that header plate, I'll tell you what.
It would be amazing. It'd be more amazing than Spider-Man.
I will get that put on his shirt. Wear it. All right.
What else we got here, man?
Okay. This one is going to be a reference with another one. This is what all the fun paperwork looks like whenever you fill these out for yourself.
It's a lot of lines.
Yeah. Secret Wars 8. Now, the story behind my Secret Wars 8 was my grandma, God bless her, would keep the plastic bags out of shake and bake chicken when I was a teenager. And since I couldn't make it to a store and they didn't really have places that sold comic book bags just everywhere, I would put them in there. So for 35 years, I stored that in a shake and bake chicken bag until I sent it out to get graded.
Shake and grade.
Shake and grade.
I think that we need to call CGC and tell them.
It smells delicious.
And I helped. So now, when I didn't really want to send it out, and my girlfriend talked me into it, said just send it, and it came back at 9.0, which totally blew me away.
Wait, you're a comic collector, right? And you have a girlfriend? Weird.
Well, she doesn't like this part of the thing. But yeah, whatever, just do it. I think she just sent it just so it would be out of the house, probably.
So there'd be room in bed with...
You're on the couch, buddy. Now, in the same batch that I sent out, I also...
And this was the first appearance of the... or not first appearance, origin of the symbiote suit.
Yes. Now, I also sent this out by Robert Hack, and this was my first that I that I did the signature series. I physically went with the representative and had Robert sign it, who's a great guy. If you're not checking out his artwork, you're doing yourself a great disservice.
Famous for Sabrina.
Yeah, he did all
horror.
Both in the TV show and the comic book. Robert had a stack of these books, so I told him to pick one out, which he was smart. He said, "You pick it out. My hands are covered in ink," because he knew that if it come back lower than a 9.8, it was going to be his fault. So he let me do it. Remarkably enough, it came back a 9.2, and I was totally baffled by that. I would like to see the grader notes on that, because it was in the pile that he had, his personal pile of books to sell, brand new, but it came back a 9.2 for whatever reason. I don't know, but the point of the
Possibly
story
something
is
internal.
Yeah, the point of the story is you can store them in a shake and bake chicken bag and get a 9.0. You get a brand new one out of the box and it comes back a 9.2. So,
well, you know, that's the thing, like we were talking about before. Just because you can generally look at just the cover and the spine and kind of get an idea of the grade of how you would grade it, but at the end of the day, unless you look through every single page, you wouldn't really know. But most people aren't going to sit there at the comic shop and pick up their weekly pull list and go through every one and look at every corner on every page. Just got to wing it, man.
I mean, who knows? Maybe whenever they hit it with the black light, maybe Robert put fingerprints on it, and his fingerprints showed up, and so there you go. Artist fingerprints on a comic book will devalue it if that is in fact what the problem is with that book. But that's one of the things about sending books back. You will be shocked about the good grades you get, and you will be also shocked by things that don't come back, and you're like, how did this happen? But
I definitely had that
the nature
happen,
of the beast.
Yeah. I do understand how it happened with mine, but it was a little bit more of devaluing than I expected. Can I look at that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
Go ahead and you can move
Okay.
on.
This is really cool that I got this in, and it's a bookend. It's a bookend to your book. So there we go. First appearance of the Black Cat. So that was one that I had sent out. And what did we get on there? 8.0. I'm happy with that. That's cool. That was probably another one that I just had in the box. No backing board, because I didn't know any better in those days. But so we got that one. This one I just recently purchased. This was fun.
Ms. Marvel, she's hot.
There you go.
I think I see the issue with this, by the way.
First full Mystique in that one. What are you coming up with there, Dave?
If you look in this corner right here, because this is almost like a prestige format, so it's almost like a thicker cover.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look, it looks like somebody dropped it on the corner a little bit. Look, see it?
Yep, there it is. That's exactly what did it. So
that's why it came back in 9.2. That's something I was going to reflect on when I get to mine. Is I think when you look at like a comic, when they grade them, they probably look at the corners and stuff, and they're probably a little more forgiving with the rounded corner or whatever, or maybe a little bit of a spinal tick. But when they get into the spine, and if it's a damaged or compressed spine, I think that's when they start really, taking strikes against you, man.
Yeah.
The spine's one of the most important things. That's why those spinal rules are so important to get pressed out. When the color breaks are on the spine is really fragile, man. You know what I mean? And that's where usually the most damage is. So, like I even told Jeannine today, I'm like, when you're handling these, try to handle it from the opposite side of the spine, because, you know what I mean? That's where you're going to get your pressure creases from squeezing it, that kind of thing,
So what? Miss Marvel. First full Mystique, which I kind of like. I think the reason it graded so low, which I did not know when I bought it because it had a backing board, is someone in a black crayon wrote $1 on it,
which may or may not affect the value. I don't know.
You know as well as I do that if there's a date removal for pulling the comic book off the shelf, they don't hold that against you unless it's crazy, like they took the pad and went, that and splattered.
Indented.
They don't. They usually don't hold that against you. I don't know, Dave.
That's the first full Mystique. So the one before that's the cameo where she's not even her.
No.
16 is
actually, I think she turns into Nick Fury. She's just like a regular person, and then she morphs into Nick Fury, and then in this one she shows up as the Mystique that we all know.
Is Yellow Jacket getting ready to hit her on this cover? It looks like he's.
I don't know. That wouldn't be the first time. he's got a record, man. I don't know that guy. Ooh. So, I do have other ones. Yeah, no, you want to do these?
What? I don't know. Listen, man, this might get a little adult oriented. So if
there's kids in the room, Probably
NSFW.
Yeah. There's kids in the room, or you're gonna have kids, or this might be for you. Okay. So I like some of the underground stuff. I do not shy away from the adult stuff. So here we go. Tits and Clits.
Was it number 1? It's probably a one shot, huh?
Yeah. No, actually that was a pretty good series that ran over a course of.
Looks like number 2.
A pretty good series. Oh, is that a poo poo joke? Is that a poo poo joke?
No, not a
There's probably one in there. But what can I say? I sent it out. I had it graded. Whole comic book store had a good laugh. I laughed. We laughed. We cried. You know.
And there's a lot of stuff I want to get CGC. I just went for conversation piece as well.
Yeah. So it's very American. I'm not going to read what it says on the cover.
America.
You read what it says on the cover.
America.
It's not a poo-poo joke, but it's close.
Only in America.
All right. Young lust. We all been there. Some of us are still there. I'm not saying anything about that. 9.0. Of course, in my book, I'd be a 10.
How are the liner notes on that? Are they
For
not too much?
For
like
this?
for any of these? Anything amusing?
You mean on the corners? No, they really don't. They
don't reflect on it too much.
If you get the grader notes, they probably say this guy's a weirdo. Man. What's up with that? All right, and finally, this came back the highest one. Second printing, 9.6, Lonely Nights.
Is it harder to find a second print of this? Is that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't even know where that came from. I think somebody left it in my house to get me in trouble, but I sent it out to get here. But it's a 9.6. So, when you have a cover like this, it reads stories to read when the couple next door is fucking too loud. I'm all about it.
Whoa!
So I did it. So,
story of my life.
Washed my mouth out with soap. That's all I got. I think that's
your biography.
That's enough. So here's to your noisy neighbors.
How about this? We're gonna break it again because it's 26 minutes. And we'll get into the last maybe 5-10 minutes. I don't know.
All right.
Nerd Court not quite out.